Tonight, on the Dreamy Physicist, you'll drift into the hush of time, not the rigid ticking you've always known, but the fluid version, the kind that bends, that listens, that softens beneath your breath. We begin at the edge of stillness, where seconds loosen like petals in water, and time itself forgets how to hurry. Hi there. I'm so glad you're here. This is your sanctuary, a quiet pocket in the fabric of the day, where the world slows down and your mind can wander softly without pressure or noise. Let your shoulders fall. Let your eyes grow heavy. You don't need to understand everything tonight. You only need to feel the way time begins to drift. You've lived your whole life inside time. Every second of every hour has been a thread in your story, but you've never touched it. You've never truly seen it. Time is the air your thoughts move through, invisible, constant, and yet not what it seems. Beneath your blanket, you are still, but your body hums with tiny clocks. Your heart beats its steady rhythm. Your lungs expand and fall, marking each passing moment in breath. Even your cells, quiet as they seem, pulse with molecular metronomes, chemical reactions dancing in careful, repeated loops. But what are they all measuring? We call it time. But time is not made of numbers. Not truly. Not deep down. Time is a relationship between motion, memory, and space. The great physicist Isaac Newton believed time flowed like a river, steady and unchanging. Every second identical. Every moment separate from the world around it. But that picture cracked when another quiet thinker, a patent clerk named Albert Einstein, dared to ask if time might be woven differently. He imagined clocks in motion, clocks on trains, clocks near stars. And what he found was gently astonishing. The faster you move, the slower time becomes. And gravity, it tugs not only on your body, but on your seconds too. This is time dilation. Not a trick, not a theory waiting to be proven, but a truth tested again and again by the most precise instruments we have. Imagine this. You hold a perfect clock in your hand, and someone else takes its twin onto a fast-moving spaceship. They race through the sky while you remain here on Earth. When they return, you compare the clocks, and theirs has ticked fewer times than yours. Not by accident, not by illusion, by the laws of nature. Motion slows time, and gravity stretches it. Your heartbeat, your dreams, your very age, all of them are shaped by where you are and how you move. Right now, as you lie here, you are hurtling through space, spinning with the earth, circling the sun, drifting through the galaxy's spiral arms. And in all that movement, time is not passing the same way for everything. A GPS satellite above you, high above the clouds, experiences time just a little faster than you do. Its clock has to be corrected to stay in sync with the ones down here. Even your feet, closer to Earth's center, experience time just slightly slower than your head. It's such a small difference, a fraction of a second across centuries, but it is real, measured, accounted for. Time flows differently depending on your view. And so, as you begin to relax, you can feel it too. Time is soft. It isn't rigid. It doesn't tick like a perfect machine. It flows like breath. It bends like branches in wind. Some physicists now say time is not a thing at all, but a story we tell to explain change, an illusion crafted by memory and motion. Others think time is as real as space and stars, woven into the fabric of everything, but tangled, elastic, sensitive to gravity's pull and velocity's rush. So which is it? A rhythm or a river? A structure or a sensation? Maybe it is all of those. Maybe time is not something to define, but something to feel. There's a moment you felt before, when everything goes quiet, when you're watching snowfall, when you're holding your breath underwater, when a loved one takes your hand. In that moment, time seems to hold its breath too. It stretches, or pauses, or fades into the background. Physicists don't yet know if time itself slows in those moments, or if it is your brain, steeped in awe, that softens the ticking. But one thing is certain: your perception of time is flexible. It is shaped by emotion, by memory, by change. Children feel it differently. One summer afternoon can feel like a year. A week without your favorite toy is a lifetime. But as you grow older, time begins to rush. Weeks vanish. Years dissolve. Everything feels faster. Why? Because newness fades. The brain compresses repeated days. And without novelty, our inner clocks skip forward. But learning, wonder, savoring, these slow things down again. And so, tonight, you're not just resting. You're remembering how to feel time gently. Question that waits, just out of reach, is one you've surely whispered to yourself before. Could time ever stop? In movies, people freeze the world with a button. The paused universe. A single raindrop suspended. But in physics, to stop time completely would require more than silence. It would mean no movement, no change, no light, no breath. It would be a place where entropy halts and nothing happens, not even dreaming. Such a place might exist at the heart of a black hole, where gravity becomes so strong, time slows to nearly nothing. But we'll drift toward that mystery later. Tonight, you're simply learning that time can shift. It can slow without stopping, bend without breaking, and soften without ever vanishing. So lie here, still and curious. Feel how your breath draws out the seconds, how your mind, no longer rushing, lets each thought arrive like a gentle tide. Time has already begun to stretch for you, not in years, but in moments, in wonder. Tonight, you don't have to chase the hours. You can just rest in the quiet between them. And as your heart beats its patient rhythm, you might begin to sense a softer metronome, a slower time held deep within you. Because next, we'll listen to that clock in your chest, the one you never hear, but always follow. We'll learn how your body keeps time, and how even it can be fooled by speed, by motion, and by gravity's invisible hands. You lie there, wrapped in the hush of a room that has begun to forget time. But inside you, something still remembers. Something keeps count, even as you drift. Not with numbers, but with rhythm. The clock in your chest doesn't tick or talk, it beats. The soft drum that began long before you opened your eyes to this world. And it will continue, faithful and tireless, until your very last dream. Place your hand just beneath your collarbone. There. Can you feel it? That steady thump, subtle and warm. It is the rhythm of your own personal timekeeper. We often think of time as something external, a wall clock, a calendar, a countdown. But your body has its own calendar, its own quiet schedule. It keeps track without ever asking for your permission. The heart is not the only clock inside you, but it is the one you feel most easily. And its beat, around 60 to 100 times a minute, marks a personal tempo that no machine could quite mimic. Scientists call this a biological rhythm. But to you, it is simply life, measured gently in pulses. And just like time in space can stretch and bend, so too can the rhythm of your body. It listens to more than just your breath. It listens to light, to temperature, to meals and movement, to emotion. Your internal time is not absolute. It adapts. It shifts with sunrise and season, with joy and sorrow, even with dreams. Deep in the brain, behind your eyes, lies a tiny bundle of neurons, no bigger than a grain of rice. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. That's a big name for something so small, but it holds your body's master clock, the conductor of your inner symphony. It knows when it is morning. It knows when you should be tired. It knows how to tell your hormones what time it is. And yet, it doesn't work alone. Every organ, every tissue, every cell has its own sense of timing, its own local clock. Your liver knows when to digest. Your skin knows when to repair. Even your immune cells march to a rhythm. Together, they make you a symphony of ticking. This inner coordination is called the circadian rhythm, from the Latin circadian, meaning about a day, roughly every 24 hours. Your body cycles through wakefulness and rest, alertness and repair, hunger and release. Even if you lived in total darkness, cut off from the outside world, your body would still keep time. It might drift slightly, perhaps 24.2 hours instead of exactly 24, but the beat would go on. Still, your rhythm listens to the sky. Light is its favorite guide. When morning light touches your eyes, even through closed lids, it signals the brain to reset its clock. It stops producing melatonin, the hormone of night, and prepares you to wake. When evening falls, your body leans back into shadow, into quiet. It begins its descent into sleep. And so, even in cities that never sleep, even under the glow of screens and bulbs, your body aches for darkness, for rhythm, for return. But what happens when the rhythm is broken? Imagine you fly across the globe. You chase the sun or flee from it. and suddenly, your body's inner time is out of sync with the world outside. This is jet lag, a tug of war between the clock in your chest and the clock in the sky. Or perhaps you stay awake too long, scrolling, working, worrying, and you blur the line between night and day. Your inner rhythms become confused, tired at noon, alert at midnight, hungry when you shouldn't be, and slowly the body's balance begins to tilt. Scientists have learned that circadian disruption can ripple through health. It affects metabolism, memory, mood. It can even sway the immune system, making healing slower, inflammation louder. But there is beauty in this too. Your rhythms are not rigid. They are forgiving. They can be reset with kindness, with sleep, with stillness, with light at the right time, and darkness when you need to fall. So tonight, as you lie wrapped in quiet, you are sinking with yourself again. Each breath, a gentle nudge toward balance. Each slow blink, a lullaby for your nervous system. Your body remembers what the clocks have forgotten. That time is not always linear. Sometimes it is cyclical. It curves. It spirals. It repeats. Just like the moon. Just like the tide. Just like your pulse. Even plants follow this rhythm. Sunflowers turn their heads to follow the light. Mimosa leaves close at night. They don't have eyes. They don't have brains. But they know. They feel time. The first clock ever built was not mechanical. It was biological. It was Earth's rotation, translated into biology, into action, into sleep, into bloom. And your body, your exquisite, breathing body, is part of that lineage. You are a timekeeper too. And somewhere deeper still, past heartbeat, past melatonin, past light, time is kept in your very DNA. Tiny molecules turn on and off in cycles. Genes are expressed like notes in a score, some in the morning, some at night. Even your cells rest. Even they obey the song. And perhaps this is the great comfort, that no matter how fast the world moves, no matter how loud the outer clocks become, you carry your own lullaby within you, a rhythm that hums when all else is still, a timing that can be tuned but never truly lost. So tonight, you are not out of sync, you are returning. Let your pulse be your anchor. Let your breath be the pendulum. Let your body know what your mind forgets, that you were always made for rhythm. Because soon we'll step outside the body. We'll look to the stars, to the way time stretches and folds under gravity's hand. We'll visit clocks that tick beside black holes and those that whisper more slowly as they fall. But for now, let your own rhythm be the only clock that matters. Let your heart keep the time. You have always moved through time at one steady pace, second by second, breath by breath. Whether you're running, resting, dreaming, the hours pass as if marching to a rhythm set outside of you. But tonight, something changes. We begin to move faster, then faster still. And as we do, something quiet and strange begins to happen. Time, the constant companion of your days, begins to drift, to stretch, to slow, not everywhere, just for you. Imagine this. You are on a train that never stops. It travels near the speed of light, faster than any human has ever gone. Outside the windows, the stars blur into shimmering streaks. The universe bends around your motion. But inside the train, you sit calmly. Your watch ticks normally. Your breath is steady. Your thoughts drift softly, just like now. Nothing feels strange. Yet, back on Earth, something different is happening. People you love, they age. The minutes pass quickly for them. Your days become their weeks. Your year becomes their decade. You live slow inside your speeding world. They live fast in their stillness. This is time dilation, the way time stretches for anything that moves very, very fast. And it is not a trick. It is not imagination. It is real. It began with a question. In the early 1900s, a young patent clerk named Albert Einstein sat with this riddle. What if the laws of physics were the same no matter how fast you moved? And what if the speed of light was constant, unchanging for everyone, no matter what? He followed this thought, not with instruments, but with imagination. And what he discovered changed time forever. Einstein saw that time and space were not separate. They were stitched together, woven into something called space-time. And when you move through space more quickly, you must move through time more slowly. It is a trade, a balance, as if time were a fabric and speed tugs on its threads. This idea is not poetry, it's physics. It has been tested again and again. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station, moving at 17,500 miles per hour, experience time just a little bit slower than we do on Earth. Not enough to notice, just milliseconds, but enough to prove that Einstein was right. And when scientists fly atomic clocks on high-speed planes, they return, ticking just a little behind their twins on the ground. So now imagine if you could travel at 99.999% the speed of light. Imagine you leave Earth as a 20-year-old explorer on a ship built for speed. You race away, watching galaxies drift past like embers in the dark. You turn around and return 10 years later. You step out of your ship, still young, but the world you left has changed. 50 years have passed on Earth. Those you left behind are old or gone. You have become the traveler of time without even trying. This isn't science fiction. It's science fact. It's called the twin paradox, and it reminds us that time is not universal, not equal. It flows differently, depending on where you are and how fast you go. In this way, speed can steal time from your experience while the rest of the universe rushes ahead. But don't worry, unless you are moving at near light speed, your time stays close to everyone else's. Even racing jets, even speeding satellites barely change your aging. The dilation is real but gentle. Only at extreme velocities does the slow drift of seconds become a meaningful silence. And yet, this principle is not just a curiosity, it is woven into our world. Your phone, your GPS, relies on satellites that account for time dilation to work correctly without adjusting for their high speeds and altitude. Your location on Earth would drift by kilometers every day. Einstein's thought experiment now guides our navigation. It helps us find lost hikers, time deliveries, save lives. Speed, though silent, has consequence. Now close your eyes and imagine a beam of light. It flashes from one wall to the other of a moving spaceship to someone aboard. The light travels straight across a simple path. But to someone watching from Earth, the spaceship is moving. So the light traces a longer diagonal line. And since light always moves at the same speed, the only way it can cover more distance is to take more time. So to the Earth-bound observer, the clock on the ship ticks slower. This is the heart of special relativity. Light doesn't change. Time does. Strange, isn't it? That speed, something we associate with urgency, has the power to slow your personal time. In motion, you do not rush through life. You linger. Your seconds stretch. You become a slow whisper moving through a fast world. And maybe if you could one day travel fast enough, you could step far ahead into the future, a future that has not yet been written, but not into the past. Speed lets you pause time, not rewind it. You can slow your moment, extend your presence, but you cannot revisit what is gone. And perhaps that is mercy. Time remains kind that way. So, tonight, as you lie still, remember this. Motion isn't just a change of place. It is a shift in experience, a different angle on the stream of time. And while you sleep, your heart still beats its quiet rhythm. But out there, among stars and particles and light, time folds and drags in ways your body may never feel, but your mind can almost dream. In the next breath, we will let go of speed altogether and fall into the strange gravity of something even more powerful, a place where time bends not from speed, but from mass, a place where stillness can warp time just as much as motion. You lie still, but the earth beneath you is moving, spinning gently, sailing through space, wrapped in a silent pull you do not feel, but always follow. That pull has many names, but tonight we'll call it what it truly is. Curve, not a force, a quiet dip in the fabric of reality itself. You see, space is not empty, and time is not separate. Together, they form a single, stretchable thing. Einstein gave it a name, spacetime. And just like a soft blanket spread across the night, spacetime can bend, ripple, and curl around anything that has mass. You are lying on that blanket now. So is the earth. So is the moon. So are the stars and every thought you've ever had. Now imagine this. You place a bowling ball on a trampoline. The fabric dips beneath its weight. And if you roll a marble nearby, it spirals inward, not because the ball pulls it, but because the marble follows the curve in the fabric. That's gravity, not a magical force, but a path carved by curves. And the more massive the object, the deeper the dip. Earth makes a shallow well in space-time. It's enough to hold you close, to keep the moon in orbit, to draw back the rain and cradle your feet. The sun makes a much deeper curve, a heavy depression that keeps the planets circling like dancers around a still center. And beyond the sun, things get stranger still. There are stars so massive they collapse under their own weight, forming pits so deep that not even light can escape them. These are black holes, the steepest curves in spacetime. Not holes in space, but places where the blanket has folded in so tightly that time itself is stretched to the brink. Near a black hole, a second for you might be hours, or centuries for someone far away. Time slows, not from speed this time, but from gravity. This is called gravitational time dilation, a quiet truth woven into the universe. Where gravity is stronger, time ticks more slowly. Even here on Earth, the effect is real. The clock on your floor ticks just a little slower than the clock on your shelf. Your feet age more slowly than your head. Tiny, imperceptible differences, but proof that time itself bends with gravity. So now, imagine drifting near a neutron star, the collapsed heart of a massive sun. Its gravity is unimaginably strong. Your body floats nearby, weightless, but not free. Your watch slows. Your heart slows. The signals in your brain drag like syrup through thought. Not because you move quickly, but because the very stage on which time plays has changed its shape. Time, in these places, is stretched long and thin. Even the light must work harder to climb out of gravity's curve. This is called gravitational redshift. As light escapes a massive body, its waves stretch, its color softens, slows, from blue to red, from quick to languid, just as your time slows in the arms of mass, so too does the light carry the mark of weight. It's as if the universe remembers the mass of every star in the way it slows the things that pass nearby. Mass tells spacetime how to curve. Spacetime tells matter how to move. A delicate agreement, a mutual whisper. No shouting, no resistance, just curves and responses, just quiet, gentle rules. You are inside those curves right now. You are not falling. You are following the line drawn by Earth's quiet weight beneath your bed. Gravity doesn't push you down. It shows you where straight lines bend in a curved world. You are moving not toward the Earth, but through the curved fabric of time itself, and your body trusts the shape without knowing it. This understanding replaced centuries of questions. Newton told us that gravity was a force between objects. Einstein showed us it was the shape of the space between them. And once we saw that curve, we saw it everywhere. We saw it in the bending of starlight around galaxies. We saw it in the slow ticking of satellite clocks. We saw it in the long stretch of time near massive things. We saw that the universe was not rigid, but soft. This softness is everything, because it means that what you feel as weight is simply presence against a curved path. It means that motion and rest are not so different. And it means that time, the rhythm of your life, can be pulled and bent by gravity's hush. So tonight, as you lie in your room, you are not lying still. You are gliding along a curve that the earth makes in space-time. You are floating inside a well of presence, softly held by the invisible weight of a world that shapes time like clay. Now breathe, because here is something even gentler. Space-time is not just curved, it can ripple. When two black holes collide, the fabric of the universe sends out waves, gravitational waves, like the surface of a pond touched by a pebble. And when those waves pass through you, they stretch space, then compress it. So subtly, you never notice, but we felt them. We've measured the trembling of space-time itself. In this way, the universe speaks, not in explosions, but in echoes. The past sends out ripples, and the present quietly listens. As you drift now, held by curves you cannot see, wrapped in a fabric that bends to your breath, you are part of a universe that is soft and moving and curved by every presence that has ever been, even yours. And in the stillness of that curved blanket, we begin to wonder if mass can bend time and motion can stretch it. What happens when we move close to the edge of time itself? What happens when we near the event horizon? You don't hear it, but tonight, right now, your phone is listening to the sky above you, high above clouds and air and birds. A constellation of satellites glides through the darkness, each one ticking softly, each one pulsing with time. They are not romantic like stars. They don't twinkle, they don't burn, but they do something magical. They help you know where you are, and more curiously, when you are. They are the quiet sentinels of the global positioning system, and they run on the strange, soft clockwork of relativity. Each time you check a map, search for directions, or just wait for a car to arrive, your phone connects to invisible threads woven by satellites in motion. At least four, sometimes more, must reach your device at once, each one whispering, "This is where I am. This is when I said it." And from those whispers, a calculation unfolds, not just of position, but of timing. Triangulation based on the time the message left the satellite and the time it was received. So it's not just about space, it's about time. And that's where things become dreamy. Let's drift upward together. Float slowly past the tops of trees, above the city lights, through the thinning blue, until you enter the quiet black of low Earth orbit. There, 20,200 kilometers above your resting body, GPS satellites move gracefully, completing 2 full loops around the Earth every single day. Inside them, tucked into metal hearts, are atomic clocks. Clocks so precise, they lose less than a second every 100,000 years. And yet, those clocks cannot be trusted as they are. Why? Because relativity bends time itself. Two strange effects unfold in these orbits. First, the satellites move fast, roughly 14,000 kilometers per hour. And as Einstein taught us, through special relativity, fast motion slows down time. From our viewpoint on Earth, their clocks tick more slowly than ours. But there's more. Second, those satellites are far from Earth's gravity well. And according to general relativity, the deeper you sit in gravity, the slower time flows. So the satellites, farther from Earth's pole, experience faster time. Motion slows their clocks. Height speeds them up. A strange balance, but an uneven one. Let's put numbers to the dream. Due to motion, special relativity predicts that each satellite's clock ticks 7 microseconds slower per day compared to a clock on Earth. But due to the weaker gravity, general relativity says their clocks tick 45 microseconds faster per day. So the net effect? Plus 38 microseconds per day. Tiny. Almost laughably small. But in GPS, that tiny error is massive because light travels fast, and even a microsecond means a difference of about 300 meters. So a 38 microsecond discrepancy becomes a 10-kilometer error in your location every day. Enough to misplace cities. Enough to lose you completely. So what do? We correct the clocks before launch. Each atomic timekeeper is calibrated to run slightly slower on the ground so that once it enters orbit, sped up by gravity, slowed down by motion, it ticks in sync with Earth base time. A cosmic pre-adjustment, an echo of Einstein etched into hardware. It's not optional, it's essential. Without relativistic corrections, the entire GPS system would unravel. You'd ask your phone where you are, and it would answer with a shrug. But it doesn't. Instead, every moment, your phone tracks you with startling precision because it listens to the sky, and the sky listens to Einstein. Each step you take, each street you cross, each path you trace on a quiet walk home is shaped by physics far above your head. It's like walking in the arms of a soft algorithm, a dream made tangible by clocks that know they must lie a little to tell the truth. The GPS system is more than just satellites and signals. It's a living monument to the warping of space-time. Every functioning phone, in every pocket around the world, is a daily user of relativity. Truth that once seemed esoteric, something confined to blackboards and thought experiments, now pulses through delivery routes, emergency services, and the way you find a new coffee shop. Science has curled itself into the rhythm of your errands, and time itself is now flexible in your palm. There's something poetic about that machines, flying above Earth, must bend their own idea of time to agree with yours, that they cannot simply tick as they wish. They must account for motion and gravity and truth. Their whispers are not guesses. They are shaped by Einstein's hand. It's a soft kind of miracle to live in a world where relativity is not an abstract idea, but a necessary correction, where time bends, not just in theory, but in your morning jog, where science once dreamed, technology now listens. And yet, these are gentle warps, subtle nudges in time. What happens when the bending grows extreme? When gravity no longer curves space-time like a soft blanket, but folds it, twists it, hollows it out like a well too deep to escape, where even light is caught in its grip? What happens at the edge of a black hole where time distorts so drastically that it nearly disappears? Where a second for you could stretch into centuries for someone watching from afar? Where clocks don't just disagree, they fracture, shatter, vanish. That's where we drift next, into the gravity wells where time collapses into silence. Close your eyes and imagine a thought, a single, quiet thought that changes everything. Not just the way you move, but the way the universe moves around you. Tonight, you step softly into the shadow of that thought. It came to one man as he sat in a patent office, sorting other people's ideas, dreaming in the quiet margins of paperwork and ink. It began, as many great revolutions do, not with an explosion, but with a question. What if time is not what we think? That man was Albert Einstein, and his question would stretch the very structure of space itself. He thought not of clocks and calendars, but of falling, of elevators, of light. He imagined a person in a sealed box, no windows, no sound from outside. If that box was floating freely in space, would they feel gravity? No. Now place that same box in free fall toward Earth. Again, the person inside would feel weightless, falling, and floating. Feel the same. This was no parlor trick. It was a doorway. From that simple imagining, Einstein began to see a new truth, that gravity is not a force pulling objects together, but a warping of the fabric they rest on, not a tug, but a bend. He called it space-time, a seamless fabric woven of both where and when. And just like a bowling ball placed on a trampoline, a massive object like a star bends space-time around it. Smaller things, like planets, or even you, follow the curves. You don't fall because you're pulled. You fall because you're sliding along the bent geometry of time. This one thought, a simple, quiet what if, reshaped the cosmos. Suddenly, clocks didn't just tick. They ticked differently, depending on where they were. A clock near the surface of Earth ticks more slowly than one on a mountain. Why? Because Earth's mass bends space-time more deeply the closer you get to it. So, lying in bed right now, your time is ever so slightly slower than the time on the top floor of a skyscraper. not metaphorically, literally. It's happening as you breathe. Each breath in the gravity well of Earth's soft, curved arms. Einstein called this the equivalence principle, the simple idea that motion and gravity are two faces of the same mysterious presence. Amen. He drew lines, and those lines became curves, and those curves became the field equations of general relativity, a language written not in words, but in the bending of time itself. But don't worry about equations tonight. You don't need them to feel the wonder. Just imagine spacetime as a soft, flexible sheet beneath everything. Fabric you cannot touch, but which touches you always. Mass presses down on it, and that press shapes how things move, how apples fall, how planets orbit, how your body slowly returns to Earth every time you jump. Even light, the fastest thing in the universe, is not immune. It curves gently as it grazes the edges of massive stars. It bends in the arms of galaxies. It stretches in the great swell of the expanding universe. And where gravity is strongest, where the press of mass becomes too great, time itself begins to twist. Einstein's thought brought us to black holes, places where spacetime is curved so intensely that even light cannot escape, and around them, time dilates beyond anything you've ever known. Imagine orbiting a black hole's edge. To you, a minute might pass, but to someone far away on Earth, perhaps an hour, a day, even years might unfold. It's not fiction, it's physics. This is time dilation, not due to speed alone, but to depth, to the weight of existence. Time, it seems, isn't just something you move through. It's something shaped by where you are and what surrounds you. It's local, personal. Your time is not exactly my time, and that's okay. The thought that bent time also made it intimate. No longer a universal rhythm, but a melody played slightly differently on every instrument in the cosmic orchestra. And you are an instrument too. Your body, your breath, your age, your memories, they unfold along a curve in spacetime that is yours alone. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If time bends, if clocks disagree, if space itself ripples with gravity waves from distant cataclysms, then what is time? Really? Is it a river, a field, a thread? Or is it something woven from within? Something the universe feels and folds with every heartbeat of a star? Einstein gave us the frame, but the questions still breathe. And perhaps, as you lie here, you can feel the beauty of that quiet revolution, that the same thought which once drifted through a small office in Bern now surrounds your every motion. The next time you fall, remember, you're not being pulled, you're following the shape of time. And the more we listen to those curves, the more we begin to ask, can we change them? Can we play with the slope of time? Speed it up or slow it down? Could we bend it so much that it folds back on itself? Could we loop time or visit it? Because the deeper we fall into this fabric, the more it seems that time is not a straight road. It may be a circle, tunnel, a dance, and somewhere ahead, the very idea of before and after begins to blur. We're getting closer now to the places where time folds, where it twists in on itself like a story with no beginning and no end, where one moment might touch another, not with memory, but with presence. And that's where we go next, to the edge of the time loop. Tonight, you are not alone. There is another you, not a dream, not a reflection, but a twin, born from the same stars, the same cells, at the same time. Two bodies, two minds, two threads, woven side by side through the cloth of time. But tonight, you will part ways. One of you stays on Earth, wrapped in blankets, rocked gently by the slow turning of the planet. And the other boards a spacecraft, a gleaming vessel that will carry them far from the pull of home. It begins slowly, the hum of engines, the soft shiver of metal learning to fly, then the roar and lift and silence, out into orbit, then beyond. The twin leaves not just Earth, but something stranger. They leave your version of time. This story, the twin paradox, is one of the most poetic in all of physics, because it feels like a dream, but it's real. Einstein's theory of special relativity tells us something delicate and profound. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. So when your twin speeds up, traveling near the speed of light, their time slows down compared to yours. Not to them, to them. Everything feels normal. Their heart still beats, thoughts still wander, dreams still come and go. But from your view, here on Earth, they are moving through time more slowly. And the longer they travel, the wider the gap becomes. You both send messages back and forth, images, voices, memories of the shared past. But already, the clocks disagree. Not by opinion, but by physics. Let's say your twin travels for 10 years. By your reckoning, 10 long years of seasons and breaths, of days fading into dreams. But for them, moving near light speed, only 6 years may pass. That's not science fiction. It's experimentally confirmed. Time dilates as speed increases. So when they return home to you, they are younger, not in spirit, in biology, in bone and blood. Their body has literally aged less. They have slept in the arms of slower time. And you, who stayed in Earth's embrace, have moved ahead without meaning to. You may have wrinkles. They do not. Memories they never made. Rhythm they missed entirely. This is not a trick. This is time. And it's all based on movement. In this cosmic dance, time stretches and shrinks depending on the path you take. The twin paradox feels strange, but it has been tested. Not with full-grown twins yet, but with atomic clocks flown on jets and placed on satellites. In every case, The moving clocks tick slower than the ones left still. NASA sees it daily in GPS satellites. Tiny adjustments must be made to account for both their speed and their distance from Earth's mass. Without relativity, your directions would fail. So even if you've never left home, the universe still whispers these truths into your pocket each time you check your phone. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, if your heartbeat can tick faster or slower based on how fast you move. Then what is age? What is now? What is when? If when is different for each path taken? You and your twin share a past, but not a future. Your future comes faster. Theirs slips by slowly, a quiet lullaby, sung by relativity. And what of memory? What do you carry that they do not? A decade of sunsets, 10 years of falling asleep with the sound of wind through trees. They carry silence, or stars, or the long stillness of deep space. Their world moved quickly in distance, but slowly in time. They have less story than you, and yet you meet again, face to face. Same DNA, same smile, but no longer the same age. And the question lingers, not just about clocks, but about being. If two people can begin together and diverge through time itself, what else? Can time stretch? Could we slow it more? Could we use this truth to preserve life? To carry astronauts to distant stars without aging them? Could deep space travel be less about propulsion and more about perspective? And if someone goes far enough, fast enough, could they return to find everyone they knew gone? That is the haunting thread beneath the poetry. Relativity gives you choices, but not without cost. The faster you flee time, the more alone you may become. So while the twin paradox is beautiful, it is also a reminder. Time is not fair. It is not cruel either, just curved like a gentle arc that bends quietly when we're not watching. It listens to speed, to gravity, to distance, and it gives back accordingly. So tonight, as you lie still, know that your time is not fixed. You live on a moving world in a shifting sky. You are part of a story where clocks don't always agree, and aging can vary by trajectory. You are a traveler, even while you sleep. And perhaps, if you close your eyes just long enough, you too will hear that soft hum, that rhythm of space and motion that says, time is not absolute. It is soft. It is stretchable. It listens to how you move. And maybe, just maybe, one day, we could stretch it so far that time itself folds like a sheet, like a whisper, like a memory that finds its future waiting, and that takes us forward to the strange idea that if time can bend, it might also, whoop, a second. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? A tiny click, a soft beat, a moment small enough to go unnoticed unless you're watching. Your heartbeat knows seconds. Your breath rests inside them. Even your dreams arrive in seconds, tiny flashes stitched together into nighttime stories. But tonight, you begin to wonder, is a second always the same? The answer, softly, no. A second can stretch, slow, bend, or slip. Second, like light, can be warped by the shape of reality. You see, our clocks, whether digital, mechanical, or biological, tick to something deeper. At the heart of every timekeeper is a pulse. In old clocks, it was the swing of a pendulum. In your body, it's the rhythm of your cells. And in the most accurate clocks on Earth, it's the vibration of atoms. Cesium atoms, to be precise, which oscillate at just the right frequency, 9,192,631,770 times for every second. These atomic clocks don't lose a beat for millions of years. And yet, if you lift one of them off the ground, take it just a bit higher into the sky, it begins to tick faster. Not because the atoms change, but because time itself does. Here's the quiet truth. A second isn't always a second because time depends on where you are. Closer to Earth's surface, where gravity pulls harder, time runs just a little slower. Higher up, where gravity's grip is weaker, time runs a little faster. This is called gravitational time dilation, a gentle stretching of time caused by mass. It's subtle, but real. Raise an atomic clock by just a few meters, and it ticks differently than its twin on the ground. In fact, your head ages faster than your feet. Your skull, just a meter above your toes, exists in a slightly faster stream of time. You are a slow cascade of seconds, top to bottom. And it doesn't stop there. Mountaintops age faster than valleys. Astronauts in orbit feel less gravity, and their clocks run just a little quicker than those on Earth. Time is not a river that flows evenly. It is a terrain, a warp, curved, living thing that responds to mass and movement. The heavier the mass, the slower the time. Imagine a black hole, a monstrous weight, pressed into a single point. Near its edge, called the event horizon, time slows to a crawl. If you hovered close, far from touching, but close enough to feel its pull, you'd see the universe rushing ahead while your own clock barely moved. You could watch entire civilizations rise and fall while only minutes passed for you. That's not fiction. That's physics. Einstein showed us that time and space are not separate. They are one fabric woven together into something called spacetime. And when mass enters that fabric, it stretches the weave. It slows the rhythm. It deepens the beat. Time is not absolute. There is no master clock ticking somewhere in the sky. Everywhere, time ticks differently. Each second is local, a quiet agreement between you and the place you stand. That's why GPS satellites in orbit must be constantly corrected. Their clocks, farther from Earth's gravity and moving quickly, tick faster than ours. If left alone, they drift off by several kilometers every day. So the system compensates. It accounts for the bending of time. It adjusts for Einstein's truths. Even when you ask for directions to the nearest bakery, you are riding on the mathematics of relativity. And still, it gets stranger. Time isn't just affected by gravity, it bends for speed, too. As we saw with the traveling twin, the faster you go, the slower time flows. So, what is a second to someone on a speeding train, or a rocket, or a photon to light, which moves at the cosmic speed limit? Time stands still. From a light particle's perspective, if it could have one, its journey from star to eye takes no time at all. Million-year journey happens in an instant. That's not something our minds can easily grasp, but it reminds us time is not a ruler. It's more like music, stretching, compressing, echoing through different halls. And yet, you and I live in such comfort, believing each second is steady. You sip tea, watch clocks, count breaths, and trust that time is a metronome. But now, you see the dance. You see that seconds are not units. They are experiences. They are shaped by mass, motion, and memory. Even emotion can stretch time. A joyful moment can flash by like a spark, while grief or waiting can stretch a single minute into an eternity. The seconds of the universe and the seconds of the heart may both stretch, but in different ways. Still, they rhyme. So, tonight, as you lie in stillness, consider this. The second you just felt was not the same as the one that came before. It ticked in a slightly different shape, moved through a slightly altered space, and somewhere, on a mountain, or aboard a satellite, or perhaps in the cold orbit of a distant world, another version of you might feel time just a little differently, maybe slower, maybe faster, but always flowing, always slipping gently through the curvature of space-time. So hold this thought gently as you drift. There is no universal now, only your now, your rhythm, your heartbeat within the moment you are given. And if time can vary so delicately, if 1 second isn't always a second, then maybe time isn't just something we measure. Maybe time is something we live. And in the next breath, you begin to wonder, if time bends, can it ever stand still? Close your eyes. Let the breath soften like a wave fading into foam. You're no longer here. Not quite. Not in this room. Not under this roof. Your body stays, resting, rising gently with each breath. But your mind? Your mind is already elsewhere, drifting, unanchored, timeless. This is where we begin. In the land of dreams, time becomes a mirage, a shape with no edges, a river with no source. You felt it, those nights when a moment feels eternal, or when hours pass in what seems like seconds. But why? Why does time fall apart when we fall asleep? It's not just poetry, it's physics, neuroscience, and a bit of wonder. Let's follow it together. As your body sleeps, your brain doesn't stop. It hums. It loops. It builds new realities. Inside your skull, a theater of quiet storms and glowing thoughts. In this world, your dream world, time is not kept by ticking clocks or orbits of planets. It's measured by the rhythm of firing neurons, by how sensations unfold, by how your memory chooses to replay or invent. And the rules? They shift. You might dream an entire lifetime in a blink or wake after a full night, remembering only a single image, a feather, a face, a falling sky. It's not your imagination. It's your brain, untethered from the clock. You see, while awake, your brain keeps time using a careful pulse. Certain neurons fire in rhythmic patterns, a biological metronome, helping you track seconds, minutes, the passing of light across your window. But in REM sleep, where your richest dreams occur, that rhythm falters. The brain's internal timekeeper becomes fluid. It no longer syncs to the outer world. It stops trying to keep pace with sunrise or heartbeat. Instead, it listens only to itself. And so, your dreams unfold in strange time. A moment stretches, second folds. Cause and effect may reverse, loop, or vanish entirely. You might dream of a city built in a day, a child grown in a minute, a journey across galaxies that ends where it began. In this space, your brain plays with memory and metaphor. It weaves old thoughts into new shapes. It borrows the past, imagines futures, and lives them both as if they were now. What's even more beautiful, your dreaming brain doesn't know it's dreaming. It treats the dream as real. Your heart may race. Your limbs may twitch. Your emotions are as vivid as waking life. And yet, none of it follows the clock. Because dreams are made outside time. Science has tried to measure this, and the findings are magical. When people are asked to do something in a dream, to count to 10 or move their eyes in a certain pattern, researchers have found that dream time often matches waking time, but not always. Sometimes the dream lingers. It distorts. It bends around emotion and sensation. A moment of fear can expand like a thundercloud. A kiss may float for what feels like forever. That's because in dreams, time is sculpted by meaning, not by minutes. And maybe that's closer to the truth than we realize. You live your waking life surrounded by clocks, wristwatches, phones, sunlight streaming across the floor. But inside you, there is another rhythm, a felt one, the rhythm of mood, of memory, of meaning. A day with laughter feels short. A day of sorrow feels eternal. Time is never objective. Not really. It's filtered through the self. And nowhere is this more clear than in dreams. Because in dreams, the body is quiet, but the self is loud. It rearranges time to make sense of feelings. you didn't process. It offers stories to emotions that had no words. It tells you, in metaphors, what you couldn't say out loud. A lost friend appears, smiling. A locked door opens. You fly, not to escape, but to remember what freedom feels like. None of this takes time, or rather, it takes time in ways we don't understand. So the question rises gently: what is time without memory? What is memory without time? In dreams, you see how tightly they're woven. Your brain stitches past events into new patterns. It blurs timelines, rewrites endings, invents scenes that never were, but feel more true than truth. You wake up changed, not because you traveled, but because your mind wandered through a universe built without clocks. And that is why your dreams are timeless. Not because they last forever, but because they exist outside duration. They're not long or short, they're full. So here, tonight, as you drift again into that soft corridor, know this: your body rests in seconds, your heart ticks in minutes, but your mind is about to enter a world where none of that matters. You are not leaving time, you are slipping beneath it. And when you return, when your eyes blink open in the first quiet blue of morning, you may not remember much. A shape, a feeling, trace of music without source, but something will have moved, some puzzle piece turned just enough to let the light through. Because while your dreams don't obey the clock, they still leave marks on your soul. They are messages from the part of you that doesn't speak in hours or minutes, but in meaning. They are your mind's way of bending time to tell you who you are. And maybe, just maybe, they hint at something stranger still. What if the soul, if such a thing exists, knows no time at all? What if consciousness isn't bound to the ticking? What if there are forms of being that live in a time without ends, without middles, without first or last? We don't know, but we can wonder. And tonight, as your breath slows and your inner world awakens, you prepare to wander into the place where even time bows to the mystery of mind. You rest now, still and soft, while the stars overhead keep their silent vigil. Tonight, you and I drift toward something bright and ancient, the gentle monarch of motion and moment. We follow the timekeeper who carries no clock, no pendulum, no gear or dial. We follow light, not just what glows from lamps or spills from your window, but light as it truly is, a whisper of the universe, moving without rest, without mass, without age. Close your eyes. Let your thoughts float free and meet this traveler, this glimmering pulse that defines every second you have ever lived. To understand time, we must understand the one thing that outruns it. Light doesn't move through time the way you and I do. It doesn't age. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't even know what it means to wait. From its own point of view, if it could have won, a beam of light is born, travels across galaxies, and arrives all in one eternal instant. No seconds pass, no clock ticks. It is now, always now. Imagine that. Imagine existing in a single, endless now. That is the mystery at the heart of life. And yet, this ageless traveler defines our very sense of time. You see, the universe holds a law. Nothing moves faster than light. Nothing outruns it. Nothing surpasses it. It is the speed limit of reality. And because of that, light sets the rhythm for everything. We measure distance in how long it takes light to travel. We call it a light year, not a mile year, or a planet year. Even space bows to light speed. We build our most precise clocks, not with gears, but with atoms, and those atoms tick by vibrating in harmony with electromagnetic waves, with light itself, the ticking of time in your devices, your satellites, your experiments, your heartbeat, all trace back to the regular, unchanging pulse of light. But here's where the wonder deepens. Light doesn't experience time, but because it's always moving, it lets us experience it. It's as if the one thing that never feels the passage of time is what creates time for the rest of us. When you look up at the stars, you're not just seeing light, you're seeing age. You're seeing light that left its star 1,000 years ago, or 10,000 or more. It raced through empty space, untouched, unchanged, carrying a memory across time. Light holds the stories of what was, and by arriving just now, just here, it tells you what time has passed in between. It is a cosmic messenger, an ancient courier without a clock who delivers time itself. But there's more. Einstein showed us that time is not fixed. It bends and stretches depending on how fast you move, how close you are to mass, how the universe curls itself around gravity and speed. And who proves this? Light. Light always moves at the same speed, no matter where you are, no matter how fast you chase it. This strange truth that you can never catch up to light forces space and time to flex and adjust just to keep up. Without light's stubborn constancy, there would be no reason for time to bend. But because light holds firm, time must shift to make space for truth. Light, in its silence, demands that the universe reshape itself so its law is always true. It is the ruler against which time itself is measured. And so, when a spaceship speeds up, time slows down for it to keep the speed of light unchanged. When you stand closer to the Earth's surface, time ticks just a little bit slower than it does on a mountaintop because gravity bends space and light curves with it. Every time your GPS guides you, it corrects for this. The satellites above float in weaker gravity, and time moves faster for them. Light knows. It whispers corrections through the math, aligning the seconds of sky and earth in perfect sync. All of modern life, from communications to science, from physics to poetry, rests on the shoulders of light's consistency. But still, we ask, what is light, really? Is it a wave? Yes. It dances through fields, rippling like water on a pond. Is it a particle? Also yes. It arrives in tiny bundles called photons, quanta of energy, indivisible pulses of brightness. And here's the twist. Light is both and neither. It behaves like a wave when we watch for waves, like a particle when we search for particles. It refuses to be one thing, and it refuses to be still. You can never catch a photon at rest. You can never put your hand on light and say, this is where it is. This is when. Because light is always on its way somewhere else. And perhaps in that endless motion, light teaches us something profound. That time, like light, is not a thing you possess, not something you hold, but something you pass through. It moves around you as you move through it. You never get to see all of it at once, but only the piece you're touching right now. And that's enough. Because if light can carry the age of stars, the birth of galaxies, the echo of explosions, billions of years gone, then maybe time is less about keeping and more about listening. Listening to what arrives when it arrives. Listening to the now that once was light years away. So tonight, as your breath evens, as the edges of thought blur into warmth, imagine yourself riding a beam of light. No weight, no time, only motion. Only now. You leave the earth and its ticking clocks. You move faster than any sound, any story, any sadness. You pass the moon, Mars, the glitter of stars. And still, you do not age. Because light, your guide tonight, knows nothing of waiting. It only knows the journey. And what is life but that? A journey from brightness to brightness, memory to moment, always unfolding, never standing still. And now, as you rest, as your thoughts slow their orbit, a new question floats into view. If light carries time, but does not feel it, then what carries memory? And what carries love? And so, we drift forward toward the next mystery, the next quiet revelation. Close your eyes now. Let the hush of night fold over you like a quiet blanket. Above you, satellites turn, and high beyond them, where the air thins into vacuum, where silence stretches long, a lone astronaut floats, strapped inside a ship that hums with steady breath. She is not dreaming. She is drifting at thousands of kilometers per hour. And she is living a paradox, the kind of story only the universe could write. Tonight, we follow her. We follow the paradox that stretches time and shrinks it, that lets her move faster than memory and slower than the world she left behind. It is a story of time dilation, of twin clocks, out of sync, of how speed and gravity bend not just space, but life itself. This is the astronaut's paradox. Back on Earth, her twin brother waits. He sits in the same kitchen they grew up in, drinking tea from their mother's cup, watching the second hand of a wall clock tick forward with gentle, stubborn rhythm. Each tick feels ordinary, but up above, in the astronaut's ship, those same seconds are different. They stretch, they slow, because she is moving so quickly, so near the speed of light itself. Time bends for her. Einstein taught us this. When you move fast, really fast, your clock slows down. Not broken, not faulty, but truly different in how it moves through time. This isn't illusion. It's physics. It's the core of special relativity. It means that while only months pass for inside her orbiting capsule, years may pass down on Earth. She returns, not older than her brother, but younger, traveler through space, who has also traveled through time. Let's pause there. Feel that ripple in your mind? That quiet disbelief? That's the paradox. We think of time as solid, as one steady river flowing for everyone alike. But it isn't. Time is not a fixed current. It bends, twists, and folds depending on where you are, how fast you go, and how deep you fall into gravity's arms. The astronaut did nothing strange. She simply orbited Earth at great speed. But that motion meant her heart beat just a little slower. Her cells aged just a little less. Her journey through time was quieter than her brother's. They began with the same age, but they end with different calendars in their bones. This isn't just theory. It's been measured. In 1971, physicists flew atomic clocks on jetliners around the world. When the clocks returned, they ticked just slightly behind their Earth-bound twins. The difference was tiny but real, and in the precision of modern physics, even nanoseconds are profound. The paradox became proof, and we began to understand. Time is personal. Time is local. Time is elastic. Now imagine it not just for clocks, but for lives. An astronaut leaves for a star system 10 light years away, traveling at a speed near light itself. To her, the journey might feel like 5 years. To the ones she left behind, decades pass. She returns to find a world changed, her loved ones older, the seasons rearranged. And yet, she herself has barely aged. It feels impossible, but it is as true as sunrise. Time moves more slowly the faster you go. It's not fantasy. It's built into the geometry of the cosmos. But speed isn't the only way to bend time. There's another form of the astronaut's paradox, one you're experiencing right now. It's called gravitational time dilation. When you're close to a massive body, like Earth, like a planet, like a black hole, time slows. Gravity presses on space, curving it, stretching it, and slowing the passage of time within it. So here's the strange truth. If you stand at sea level, time ticks more slowly than it does on a mountaintop. Just a little, just a sliver. But it's real. Your position in gravity shapes your tempo through time. Now take that further. Imagine a twin who orbits a black hole. The closer she gets to that gravitational well, the slower her time runs. If she hovers just outside the edge, the event horizon, a few hours for her could be decades for someone watching from far away. She could return to find her world aged beyond recognition, while she remembers only an afternoon. Time and space have stretched to protect the speed of light, but the result is a life out of sync. And still, we marvel, because these aren't riddles, they are tools. We rely on GPS satellites that orbit Earth, where gravity is weaker and time runs faster. Without correcting for this, our maps would drift kilometers off course. Every day, our phones would lose sync, our world would blur. Relativity is not just an idea, it's the architecture of precision. It guides satellites, navigates spacecraft, syncs computers, and shapes our everyday lives. So now, as you lie still beneath your blanket of gravity, beneath the turning sky, think of the astronaut again, alone, in her capsule, her body suspended in the curl of orbit, her heart beating in slower time. She is not magic. She is not legend. She is proof that time is not a thing we own, but a field we fall through, a shape we stretch, a fabric we wear without knowing. And as your breath deepens, let this settle in. You too are a traveler in curved time, not just through speed, but through memory. Your dreams ignore seconds and hours. Your thoughts jump back years in a heartbeat. Your emotions slow the world or speed it up. Time in your mind is not absolute either. It bends to what matters. It swells in love, stalls in sorrow, and flies in wonder. So what is time really? A ticking clock? A physical equation? Or something woven into consciousness itself? That's where we're going next. Because if the astronaut's paradox proves time can bend through space and speed, what happens when it bends through memory, through thought, through dreams? And what if the mind is a time machine too? Let's float forward into the mystery of awareness, into the echoing hallways of time's most secret mirror. Close your eyes. Breathe in, then out. The night is still, and somewhere deep within you, time loosens its grip. You are not dreaming yet, but you are drifting into that quiet place where seconds lose their shape and moments soften like melted snow on warm hands. Tonight, we fall into slow time, but not by leaving Earth, not by racing through space or skimming the edge of a black hole. No, this journey begins right here with you. Still, quiet, listening. Because time, as Einstein showed us, is not absolute. It bends with motion. It stretches with gravity. But tonight, we ask a stranger question. What happens when you feel time change? What happens when the clock inside your mind no longer matches the one on the wall? You've felt it before. Everyone has. The hours before dawn, during heartbreak, so slow they seem frozen. The blink of a weekend, when you are in love, gone before it began. Moments of danger, stretched like taffy, where each heartbeat echoes like a drum. Moments of boredom collapse into minutes that crawl like insects across glass. Time, when lived, does not tick, it sways, it pulses, it obeys not just physics, but perception. Your brain, that humming universe of neurons and flickering sparks, holds a clock more slippery than any built by engineers. This inner timekeeper does not measure seconds exactly. It feels them. And feelings, as you know, bend the rules. When you're anxious, your inner clock speeds up. The world feels too fast. Voices blend. Lights blur. You forget to breathe. But in calm, when your breath slows and your heartbeat settles, time begins to uncoil. Seconds stretch, thoughts deepen, the world opens. This is slow time. Imagine a monk on a quiet mountain. He sits in stillness for hours, but to him, it feels like a breath. He has trained his awareness to settle into the present, to live within the beat of each passing moment, as if there were nothing else. Time, for him, is not marching, it is resting, and it is here you begin to see time is not just a cosmic fabric, it is also a human experience. Let's travel now to the other side of stillness, to war, to trauma, to shock. In moments of extreme stress, something strange happens. Victims report that time slowed down. A car crash feels like an hour. A single second holds 100 thoughts. Why? It's not because your brain speeds up like a film reel. Rather, your memory records more. In stress, your brain writes with greater density. Later, when you recall that moment, it feels longer because it contains so much more. So, is time slower or just richer? Does it change or do you change? Now, float gently to another scene. You are lying in a hospital bed. The room is white. The clock ticks. You wait for a diagnosis, for news, for anything to come. This waiting is torture. Each minute becomes a stone. Each hour a weight. And still, the wall clock moves the same for everyone. So what makes it feel so much heavier? For you, emotion, attention, anticipation. These are the fingers that mold time inside the mind. In neuroscience, this is called temporal perception. Your brain constructs time from many signals: heartbeat, breathing, light, movement, language, and memory. It gathers a rhythm of life and turns it into a sense of now, of then, of later. But this rhythm can be distorted. Meditation can slow it. Psychedelics can break it. Sleep can erase it. Music can stretch it. And dreams rewrite it entirely. A dream might last seconds in real time, yet feel like an hour. In sleep, your brain becomes a time traveler, free from the tyranny of clocks. You can fly, return to childhood, visit the future, or sit still for days, all in the span of one heartbeat. In dreams, you fall into slow time because the body rests, but the mind roams. There is no sunrise, no ticking minute hand, no schedule to obey. Time becomes what the story needs. Artists know this too. When a musician plays, time disappears. When a painter loses herself in strokes of color, the world fades. Hours pass in silence. They call it flow, a state of full immersion where action and awareness become one. In flow, you don't track time, you live it. You melt into it, and often you fall behind it or ahead of it without noticing. It's a kind of slow time that hides inside joy. So maybe, just maybe, slow time is not always about physics. Maybe it's also about presence. Maybe time slows whenever you return fully to the moment you are in, not rushing, not remembering, not planning, just being, like the monk, like the child watching snowfall, like you right now, with breath steady and soft, listening to a story about time. And perhaps this feeling, this calm and timeless drift, is not so different from relativity after all. Because Einstein said, time slows near great masses. But what if attention is its own kind of mass? What if your focused presence curves your inner space-time, slows your inner seconds, and lets you live just a little longer inside each moment? What if slow time isn't a luxury, but a choice, a way of being? And so we end, not in a spaceship, but in stillness, wrapped in the gentle hush of now. No urgency, no race, just breath and awareness. Time, for this moment, is no longer something you follow. It is something you are inside of. It stretches, and you stretch with it. It softens, and you soften too. But time has other faces still, not all of them soft, not all of them slow. Because just as time can stretch, it can also tear. It can slip through cracks of memory, of identity, of consciousness itself. So next, we step carefully into a deeper question. When time fractures, what happens to the self within it? Let us wander now into the fragile folds of time's mirror. Close your eyes. The world is still moving, but you are not. Cars hum far beyond your window. Stars drift silently overhead. Somewhere, an ocean tide leans into a shore, then pulls away again. The earth turns, your blood flows, neurons whisper, ocean everywhere. And yet, here you are, held softly in the cradle of a single breath, suspended between two moments, between heartbeat and thought. Tonight, we search for something small, something often missed, the stillness, nested deep within movement itself. We are looking for the pause hidden in motion. Have you ever watched a dancer freeze mid-twirl? A bird hover on invisible air currents? A sprinter held in perfect stillness just before the gun fires. There, in the middle of speed. Pause. It's brief. You might miss it, but it is real because motion is not one long stretch. It is rhythm, pattern, waves. Every movement is made of stops. Let's begin with light. You've learned that light is fast, the fastest thing we know. Nothing outruns it. Nothing overtakes it. But light, strangely enough, never experiences time. From light's own perspective, it leaves one place and arrives at another in the same instant. No pause, no waiting. And yet, when light behaves as a wave, it pulses, peaks and valleys, brightness and dim, push and release. Even light moves with a beat. In its fastest flight, light still holds its own quiet rhythm. Now, let's fall into your own body. Your heart does not just race, it rests. Between each beat, there is silence. It is in that silence that your blood is pulled forward, drawn like a tide returning home. Your breath, too, is not one long wind. It rises, it falls, it pauses at the top of inhale, at the bottom of exhale. A still point, fleeting, but always there. If you listen closely, with eyes closed and mind soft, you'll hear it. That pause inside every breath. It is where calm lives. Motion, it turns out, is not chaos. It is not noise. It is made of patterns, and inside those patterns are rests. Even the tiniest particles, electrons, quarks, the hidden gears of the universe, move in rhythm. They spin, oscillate, vibrate. But between their cycles, there are tiny gaps, Planck scale flickers of nothingness. Our physics calls it quantization. Motion, in this strange view, is not smooth, it is grainy, pixelated, like frames in a film. And between each frame, a pause. Let's step even deeper to quantum fields, to where particles aren't little marbles, but blips of energy arising from stillness. The vacuum, what we once thought was empty, is a sea of waiting. Feel trembling with potential. From that trembling, particles burst forth. Motion, in its most primal form, is born from stillness. The pause is not the opposite of movement. It is its cradle. Even the stars obey this. They are not burning endlessly. They pulse. They breathe. Some stars, like Cepheid variables, brighten and dim in perfect cycles. Their very heartbeat is written in light. It is this rhythm that allows astronomers to measure distance, to map the cosmos, to track time across galaxies. Pause, hidden in brightness. Stillness, hidden in flame. Think now of time itself. You've been taught to imagine it as a river, ever flowing, never stopping. But perhaps it's more like music, not just a melody, but a score, pattern of sound and silence, note and rest, forward and hold. And in this music, you are a listener, sometimes playing, sometimes waiting, sometimes racing through hours, other times held gently in a single second that stretches like warm honey through your mind. In meditation, the pause becomes everything. You sit, the world continues, thoughts come and go, but you watch for the moment between sound and reaction, between thought and response. That space, so small, most never see it, is where freedom lives. You do not need to follow every motion. You can rest in the pause. In that moment, you are not your story. You are not your role. You are awareness. Pure. Still. Right? The great physicist Niels Bohr once said, "You must not think, but look." When you look closely at motion, you see it is not rushing, it is revealing. When a pendulum swings, it slows at the top before returning. When waves roll in, there is a breathless hush before they break. Even a galloping horse touches the earth between strides. So too, with you, your life may feel fast, busy, demanding, but there are pauses. They are always there, waiting to be noticed, to be entered, to be honored. You may think that stillness is the absence of living, but sometimes the most profound moments occur not when you are moving, but when you stop, when the world washes over you and you simply witness the sunset, the hand of someone you love, the breath you didn't know you were holding. Time slows, motion rests, you fall into the pause, and the pause welcomes you. So, tonight, let the world keep spinning. Let the atoms whirl. Let the galaxies stretch. You don't need to chase them. You can rest in the still points, the hidden spaces, the moments between the motion. You are not missing anything. You are discovering something, a secret place, beneath speed, beneath urgency. A home made not of noise, but of quiet. Pause that holds the shape of you. But not all pauses are peaceful. Some bring confusion. Some silence after loss. Some the stillness of suspended memory when time moves, but you do not. And so we must ask, what happens when time continues, but the self feels paused? Let us step gently, then, into the echo of identity, into the questions of self and time as we enter chapter 14, the memory that time forgot. Time seems to flow like a stream you cannot hold, but tonight you lie still and begin to wonder if it's the river that runs, or you who drifts quietly on its invisible current. Close your eyes, listen to your breathing, and out. Each breath, a quiet pendulum in the cathedral of your chest. Your body feels still, but something moves. A hush beneath the hush, a rhythm beneath the rhythm. This is not your heart. This is not your breath. It is something deeper still. We call it time. But is time a thing that moves? Or is it something we only sense when we change? You're lying still now, but your cells are not. The molecules in your skin dance. Tiny proteins twist and fold. Mitochondria hum in their little workshops. And your memories, they flicker, stitching the present to the past. threading meaning into moments. And still, you feel time passing. But what if nothing moved? Would time stop? Would the world forget to tick? Let's go far back, to a place where movement first began, to the earliest flicker in the newborn cosmos. The flash of light, a particle, a reaction, and suddenly, time had something to measure. Without change, without events, time may not even have meaning. A frozen universe would have no clocks, no memories, no stories. So maybe time doesn't flow like water in a river. Maybe it's a mirror, revealing itself only when something shifts in front of it. Think of a clock on the wall. It ticks, but the ticking isn't time. It's just a tool we've made to feel the rhythm of change. Imagine now you're drifting in space, far from Earth, alone, motionless. Nothing around you moves. No sun, no stars, just darkness. Perfectly still. Would you feel time there? With no sunrise to mark it, no heartbeat to pace it, would time begin to vanish? Maybe it's not time that moves, but we who move within it, marking it with heartbeats, footsteps, tears, and tides. Time then might be less like a river and more like a vast, still ocean, where we are the swimmers, leaving ripples with every motion, every memory. Physicists sometimes describe time not as a flowing force, but as a dimension, like height, like depth, like width. Time may be just another direction we are moving through. But here's the strange part. When Einstein reshaped time with the theory of relativity, he didn't say time flows. He said it bends. He said it stretches. He said it dilates. And yet, nowhere in the equations is there a thing called now. No spotlight sweeps across the universe, announcing the present moment. To the universe, past, present, and future all sit quietly on the same map. So what are we feeling when we say time is passing? Maybe we're just feeling ourselves moving through that map. The ancient philosophers imagined time as a river, but in the East, others imagine time as a wheel, spinning in cycles, birth and decay, day and night. And in some traditions, time is not a force at all, but an illusion woven from our memory and our fear of endings. You turn gently now, your pillow warmed by your cheek, the stars outside, still racing across the sky, though their light left them long ago. You wonder, how can something so constant feel so slippery? A moment of joy flies past you in an instant. A moment of pain sits heavy and slow, but both, measured on the clock, tick the same. So time is not just physics. It is feeling. It is sensation, emotion, perception. A child waits for summer, like it will never come. A parent watches the years vanish in the blink of a smile. You realize time doesn't just pass outside you. It bends within you. And even this very moment in your bed is shaped by how you feel it. You remember a dream from long ago, or maybe it was last night. In the dream, you floated through a hallway with no end, where the clocks had no hands and the rooms had no names. There, you felt no urgency, only being, only presence. That is the secret, hidden in your own stillness. When you are not moving, you begin to feel how much time depends on motion, on memory, on meaning. So perhaps you do not need to ask if time flows. Perhaps it is more beautiful to ask how you flow through it. And if you flow through it differently than light, than stars, than stone, what then does that say about your story? You are not just a passenger in time. You are a maker of it. Every time you remember, you build a bridge across its waters. Every time you love, you bend time inward, folding whole years into a moment. And when you forgive, you let the past dissolve and open space for a new kind of present. So maybe time is not fixed. Maybe it can be shaped by what you choose to carry and what you choose to let go. You feel your eyes softening. Your breathing has deepened. And in this stillness, there's no ticking, no rushing, just the quiet music of a moment without name. Now let yourself drift just a little further. Let the question sink gently. If time can stretch and time can drift, could it also ever hold still? Could there be, beneath all the ticking and the pulsing and the rushing forward, a hidden stillness that moves everything? Let's lean into that possibility. In chapter 15, the stillness that moves everything. Imagine you are standing still in a universe that doesn't. All around you, the stars breathe light. From millions of years ago, there are stories traveling in ancient silence to touch your eyes tonight. But now, imagine you're holding a map, not a map of roads, not a map of countries, but a map of time. You look down at it, and strangely, you see no lines of before or after, no past trailing behind you, no future stretching ahead, only the whole, all at once, like a painting already complete. This is the block universe, a quiet idea with loud implications. Physicists call it eternalism, the thought that every moment, past, present, and future, already exists, coiled into spacetime like an infinite scroll of now. Nothing flows, nothing moves. Every event, from the birth of the stars to the blink you just blinked, is etched into the fabric of reality forever. You are not moving through time. You are located within it. Somewhere on this vast map, a child is laughing for the first time. Elsewhere, a tree falls in a forest where no one will ever hear it. Elsewhere still, you are being born, or perhaps taking your last breath. But all of it, every beat, every loss, every yes, every never, exists together on the map, like pages in a book you haven't reached, but that have always been there, waiting. And yet, you don't feel that. You feel time as movement, as change, as the unstoppable, gentle fall into tomorrow. So where is that sensation coming from? Maybe from memory, the way you remember breakfast, but not dinner, from 3 days ahead. Maybe from entropy, the slow, natural slide from order into chaos, ice melting, smoke rising, stars dimming. Entropy doesn't flow backward, and neither, it seems, do you. And yet, the map is still there, unchanged, unfolded, timeless. What does that mean for the life you're living? If the past cannot be undone because it still is, then do our regrets echo forever? Or are they simply coordinates on the map we have already passed through? Close your eyes. Feel yourself floating above the map, hovering in that stillness we spoke of before. From up here, nothing is lost, only located. The day you held someone and they wept into your shoulder, that moment is still somewhere in the folds of space-time, warm, complete, unchanged. The day you broke a promise, that, too, is somewhere, fixed, actual. There is comfort in this, and discomfort too, because it asks something hard. If everything that happens always exists, can we ever be truly free? If your future already exists on the map, did you choose it? Or are you merely discovering what was always there? Some say this vision is too cold, too still, too mechanical. But others find deep peace in it. Because if every joy is eternal, if every act of kindness never fades, then time cannot erase you. Nothing can erase you. You are woven into the universe's tapestry forever. You may never again return to that birthday, that snowfall, that first kiss, but they are not gone. They are simply elsewhere, not lost, just elsewhere. Let us imagine now that time is not a line, but a landscape. You walk through its hills and valleys. Each turn shows you a new scene, but those you've passed still stand behind you, untouched. You don't feel them anymore, but they're still there. That moment you're living right now. This one is not the dot sliding forward. It is a location, a room in the house of being. And in another room, your younger self is still drawing stars on the walls of their notebook. In another, your older self sits quietly, no longer needing to ask what time is. If this is true, if all moments are real and lasting, then grief softens, doesn't it? Because what we love is not erased, just placed somewhere else on the map. Maybe love is the feeling of remembering those coordinates by heart, not just in the mind, but in the body, in the ache, in the warmth, in the way your hand reaches without thinking. Maybe we never lose people. We just move farther from their room in the house. But the room never vanishes. They are still on the map. And so are you. Your life, with all its chapters already written into space-time, not as a prison, but as a poem already whole. It means your finest hour hasn't disappeared. It means your worst mistake hasn't defined you. It means there is nowhere you must rush to, because you are already within everything you've ever been. Still, you wonder, what's the point of choosing if everything has been chosen? And yet, you do choose. You love. You weep. You stay, you leave, and maybe those choices are just the way your consciousness wins its thread through the fabric. Because while the map exists, you still must walk it. You must trace the contour of its shape. That is what it means to be alive, to eat the part of the universe that experiences itself in sequence. You are the unfolding. You are the movement. You are the now passing through the forever. And that, perhaps, is the greatest mystery, that something can be both still and moving, both whole and becoming, both a map and a journey. So, tonight, as you lie quiet, know this. You are not a flame flickering toward extinction. You are the light already painted across the sky. You are not a wave soon to crash. You are the ocean, rippling forever in every possible shape. And maybe, just maybe, there is no past, because nothing ever leaves. There is no future, because everything already is. There is only this tapestry, this map, this song without beginning or end. This is not the end of your story, only the edge of another page. Let us begin with a question you may have asked when the world moved too fast and your heart wished to stay just a little longer in a moment that glowed. Can you stop time? Can you press pause on the grand orchestra of ticking clocks and falling leaves, on sunsets that vanish too soon, and on faces that age when you're not looking? If you could, would you? And what would it mean? Let's journey softly now into that question, as if we are walking into a dream where physics hums like a lullaby. Time, to most of us, feels like motion, a river we cannot wade back into, a breeze we cannot hold in place. But what is time, really? A ticking clock? A heartbeat? A shadow that stretches as the sun moves? Or is it something deeper, a rhythm etched into the very bones of the universe? In physics, time is woven into space. They do not live apart. They dance together, invisible threads, spinning the stage we call reality. This fabric, space-time, bends, stretches, and listens to the presence of matter. A planet, a star, even your body makes an imprint in this cosmic cloth. And as it bends, time bends too. We've learned you can slow time a little. You can orbit Earth in a fast-moving satellite and return to find that fewer seconds have passed for you than for those you left behind. We've seen time tick more slowly near black holes, as if gravity itself were a hand, dragging the second hand of the cosmic watch. But can you bring it to a full stop? Imagine a place so steeped in gravity, so curved in space-time, that time no longer moves forward. This is not a fantasy. This is the event horizon of a black hole. To someone falling in, time feels normal. Their thoughts flow. Their breath continues. But to an outside observer, that person never quite falls in. They appear frozen, eternally suspended on the edge of now. Time, for them, appears to stop. But is that the same as stopping time? Not exactly. because the person inside still lives, still thinks, until the crushing center claims them. Even then, we don't truly know what happens next. The laws of physics begin to fray like threads pulled too tight. Some scientists imagine that deep within that darkness, time and space reverse roles. That time becomes a direction in space, and space becomes a prison of time. What a strange reversal. And yet, it brings us no closer to the question our hearts keep asking. Can you stop time in your life? Not metaphorically, not emotionally, but really, truly, physically. To do that, you would need to move at the speed of light. Light does not age. A photon born in the heart of a star takes billions of years to reach your eye, but for the photon, no time has passed. It travels in a kind of timelessness, a stillness woven into speed. From its perspective, its journey was instant, but you cannot move at light speed. Your mass holds you back. The universe will not allow it. So you remain within time, bound to its current, subject to its flow. But even here, in this world of clocks and calendars, time doesn't always feel the same. You felt it, the way hours can stretch in sorrow and disappear in joy. The way one kiss can feel like a lifetime, while an entire year can vanish without a trace. Your brain is not a metronome, it is a dreamer, and it warps time with memory, with attention, with feeling. When you are present, truly present, time slows, not in the laws of physics, but in the laws of the heart. When you listen to the breath of someone you love, when you watch a firefly flicker once and vanish, you touch a kind of stillness that clocks can't measure. And maybe that is what we really mean when we wish to stop time. We don't want the universe to freeze. We want our being to deepen. We want to be allowed to feel the full shape of a single moment, to stretch inside it, to hear it hum, to live it without rushing to the next. So while physics says no, you cannot stop time, perhaps there is another answer. You can slow it down by giving it your full attention. You can step outside the rush by stepping into wonder. The world around you won't pause, but your soul might. There's a word in Japanese, ma. It means the space between things, the pause between notes, the silence that gives shape to sound. To stop time may not mean to freeze it, but to find ma within it, a breath, a stillness, a choice. In that sense, perhaps you stop time every time you look up at the stars and forget your name for a while. Every time you touch someone's hand and feel their warmth with reverence. Every time you listen to your own heartbeat as though it were a question. These pauses do not defy physics, but they do reshape experience. You are not a machine. You are a traveler with a soft lantern walking through the dark. You cannot stop the night from falling, but you can light a single moment until it feels eternal. So maybe that's your answer. No, you cannot stop time. But yes, you can stop inside it. You can dwell. You can notice. You can bow to this breath as though it were a gift from the stars. And perhaps that's what time has wanted all along. Not to be stopped, but to be seen. Close your eyes and imagine your heartbeat as a small drum echoing through the stars. Soft, steady, almost like a whisper to the cosmos. You live your life one breath at a time, unfolding like a paper boat on the surface of a mighty ocean. You cannot see this ocean. It is the universe, and the water beneath you is time. You feel it flow. You measure it in years, in tears, in birthday candles, and in the laughter that fades into memory. But what if I told you this time you carry, this personal rhythm, is not yours alone? What if your time was shaped by the hands of the universe itself? Tonight, we drift deeper into that question. What does it mean for your time to belong to the universe? Let's begin with a single second. Tick, you just lived it. One full moment. But how long did it truly last? Not just for you, but for a bird lighting high above the mountains, or a satellite circling the earth, or a beam of light slipping through space. It turns out not all seconds are equal. We've seen this again and again in gravity's quiet pull, in motion's relentless speed. Time bends, time stretches, time listens to the landscape of the cosmos. Stand on a mountain, and time moves faster than it does at sea level. Fly through space at tremendous speed, and you age more slowly than those you left behind. Even your GPS, that polite voice guiding you home, must whisper to Einstein each time you move. Because if it didn't, it would be wrong by miles each day. That is how powerful the universe's hand is. It shapes your time without asking. It stretches your seconds, compresses your hours. It cups you gently in its palm and says, "This is how fast you may live today. Let's go farther now." Outward, upward, toward the stars. Imagine you are drifting near a black hole, not yet inside it, just close enough to feel the weight of its presence. 2. Each moment feels normal. Your breath is calm, your thoughts unbroken. But for someone watching from far away, your seconds are dripping like honey. You are living in slow motion, though you feel nothing strange. From their view, you are aging less. The clock on your wrist has become a stubborn thing, ticking only when it chooses. This is not fantasy. This is gravity's spell. Time, here, is not just a number. It is a creature woven into space, responding to mass, like a string responds to a pluck. So, your time is not simply yours. It is granted to you by the contours of the cosmos, by the shape of spacetime, by the gravity of everything around you. You are, in every moment, invisible threads tied to stars, moons, mountains, oceans. You are not alone in your timing. You are synchronized to a universe far larger than your eyes can see. But now, let's go inward, because even within you, within your tiny seconds, there is a mystery. Your cells divide on a clock. Your heart keeps rhythm. Your brain measures moments between thoughts without effort. You are a timekeeper by nature, yet you are also a dreamer, and your experience of time is not always bound by physics. A moment of a can feel eternal. A painful memory can echo for years. Your perception stretches and compresses just as space-time does. So whose hand guides that time? Perhaps the universe's hand is not only gravity, not only motion, but also wonder. Perhaps when you sit beneath the stars and feel yourself very small and very vast at once, you are feeling time the way the universe meant for it to be felt, not as a number, not as a deadline, but as a soft unfolding. Think of a tree. Its rings measure years you never saw, storms you never heard, winters you never felt. Yet those years shaped it. Its time was slow, silent, gentle, still. It grew. You are the same. You grow by seconds. You don't always notice. Your time moves through you quietly, shaping your story. And that story is held not in your hands, but in the hands of everything. Sun gives your days their rhythm. The earth gives your seasons their turn. The moon pulls gently on your body's tides. You are not a separate being counting hours alone. You are woven into a cosmic clock that doesn't tick, it breathes. You are not watching time. You are living inside it. So, can you own your time? Or is it borrowed? And if it is borrowed from stars, from space, from gravity and light, then what should you do with it? Perhaps you cherish it more. Perhaps you stop trying to race it, or freeze it, or master it, and instead you listen. You listen to the rhythm the universe plays. You find your place in the harmony. You stop measuring your life by clocks on walls and start measuring it in presence, in connection, in moments of wonder. You begin to see that the time you thought you owned was always a gift, and the gift was not just how much time you had, but how you felt within it. So tonight, as you rest your eyes and your breath slows, remember this: your time is in the universe's hands, but your experience of is yours to shape. Let it be a soft thing, a curious thing, a quiet song as you wander through stars. And in that song, perhaps you will find a kind of freedom greater than control, a peace, not in owning time, but in being part of its unfolding. And now, the stars begin to hush, the questions pause, like petals folding at dusk. You've traveled so far tonight, through time, through thought, through the soft fabric of the universe itself. Somewhere in the rhythm of your breath, you've cradled the heartbeat of galaxies, felt the quiet hum of clocks you cannot see, and let the weight of wonder become a lullaby. You don't need all the answers now. You only need the stillness, the kind that comes when curiosity has curled up next to calm. I'm so glad you were here. So glad you listened. So glad you wandered with me. This has been the Dreamy Physicist. Until we meet again beneath the sleeping stars. Good night and wonder well.